the survivor who spoke shark. The waters off the rocky coast of Mendocino were known for two things: their fierce beauty and their great white sharks. For marine biologist Dr. Elias Thorne, it was the perfect place to study predator behavior. But his life's work took a drastic turn the day the Siren's Call, his research vessel, was rammed by a distressed humpback whale and sank within minutes. Elias was the only survivor. He washed up on a remote inlet 3 days later, dehydrated and sun-scorched, but alive. The Coast Guard called it a miracle. His colleagues called it impossible. But Elias knew the truth: he hadn't survived alone. During those 3 days adrift, something in him had shifted. It started with the sound. A low, rhythmic pulsing vibration that cut through the water, a frequency below human hearing. It wasn't until a great white shark, a massive female with a distinctive notch in her dorsal fin, circled his makeshift raft that he realized he could understand it. The vibrations weren't just noise. They were language. A complex system of sound, movement, and electrical impulse used by sharks to communicate. At first, he thought it was delirium. But back in his lab at the Marine Institute, the ability didn't fade. He could still feel their presence in the water from shore. He could sense their intent, curiosity, warning, hunger, like whispers in his bones. Elias tried to explain it to his peers, to his funding board. They dismissed him as traumatized, unstable. Everyone except for Mara, a young grad student specializing in bioacoustics. She didn't think he was crazy. She thought he discovered something revolutionary. Together, they developed a hydrophone array sensitive enough to capture the low-frequency vibrations Elias could sense. They began recording, filtering, mapping. What emerged wasn't random noise. It was syntax. Grammar, a language of the deep, used by the ocean's oldest and most misunderstood predators. The sharks weren't just mindless hunters. They were historians. Their songs contained memories, migrations written in current paths, the locations of shipwrecks and underwater caves, even the stories of whale falls that fed entire ecosystems for decades. The great white with the notched fin, the one who had circled him, was a matriarch. A keeper of knowledge. But their research attracted the wrong kind of attention. A shadowy conglomerate known as Oceanus Corp took an interest. They didn't want to study the sharks, they wanted to weaponize their navigation. Imagine submarines that could move undetected by mimicking shark language. Or worse, sonic devices that could drive sharks away from protected waters or directly into fishing nets. Elias and Mara refused to share their data. So, Oceanus Corp sabotaged their lab. They stole hard drives, destroyed servers, and framed Elias for illegal surveillance, getting him suspended and discredited. With nothing left to lose, Elias took matters into his own hands. He knew the only way to prove the truth was to show it. Live. He and Mara organized a public demonstration off the coast, broadcasting a live feed. Using a modified underwater speaker, Elias did something no one had ever done: he spoke back. He broadcast the matriarch's own call, a greeting, a question. For a long moment, there was nothing. Then, she emerged from the deep blue. The great white with the notched fin. She circled slowly beneath his kayak, not with aggression, but with recognition. And then, she did something that stunned the thousands watching online: she led him. She swam slowly, purposefully, toward a nearby reef and began a specific, looping pattern. Following her, Elias discovered what she was showing him: the wreck of a lost fishing boat that had vanished a year ago, its crew never found. It was proof. The sharks weren't monsters. They were witnesses. The public outcry was immediate. Oceanus Corp was investigated for espionage and ecological interference. Elias was reinstated, his research now funded and protected. But he rarely goes out on boats anymore. He prefers to sit on the cliffs, eyes closed, listening to the conversations happening just beneath the waves. He is no longer just a survivor or a scientist. He is a translator. And the ocean has so much more to say.